Hello, everybody. Today we're interviewing with a gentleman that we call the Teapotist. Mr. Teapotist, please say hello to the audience.
Hello, all 8 of your audience. Hello. Can you have Gabe cut it out? Hi,
No,
guys.
that's fine. We can leave that in there. All jokes are welcome. The Teapotist happens to be what I would call an atheist. Not sure if that's correct. Are you considering yourself an atheist?
Well, I don't collect stamps. Am I an A stamp collector? I don't believe in Poseidon. Am I a Poseidonist? So the term atheist that you throw around with agnostic and believer, it's just in the English language, it does not make sense to me. If you aren't a mechanic, are you a mechanicist? Like the term you're throwing out is just ludicrous, starting with the English language.
Well, obviously, if there was no theists, we wouldn't be calling you an atheist. So the reason you're called an atheist is because there's such a thing as a theist. So
right, so it's just the converse of that. So then why wouldn't you call me an agriculturist? Because there are people that do agriculture for a living, and you don't participate in that. Do you refer to yourself as an agriculturist and hold YouTube videos regarding that?
Yeah, so if we're discussing people that do agriculture and others, we could call them non-agriculturist. If that's what they're in the field of agriculture, everybody else is a non-agriculturist or a mechanic. Right. This is the mechanic industry. These are the mechanics, and this group is a non-mechanic. So yes, if they're in the same room and we're comparing them, I would call them that just so we know where they stand, where their position is.
Yeah,
the mechanics or non-mechanics.
Yeah, in the interest of carrying on the conversation, yes, you can refer to
because I know I do.
It's quite a ridiculous term.
Well, it's only
I'm going to refer to you for our purposes. I'm going to call you a non-stamp collector since you don't collect stamps. I love it,
yes, okay, I think the reference is
I won't call you a theist, but you're the non-stamp collector, and you can call me the atheist in return.
Gotcha. Okay. But just so our audience understands, the stamp collector, where does that come from? What does that mean?
Well, you don't collect stamps.
Correct.
Is that correct? So I'm going to refer to you as a non-stamp collector.
And you said
no, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
And is our discussion does our discussion have anything to do with stamp collecting? Right now we're talking about is there a God or isn't there a God?
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, we can definitely discuss that. And then my position is that there isn't a God. But to have a term that says atheist specifically for that, then we would need terms for the converse of everything, right? If you say there's theists and then there's non-theists, we're going to call them atheists, then I'm going to call you the converse of every word in the English language that could be a noun or like something you identify with.
Sure.
If you don't do that, I'll call you the opposite of that.
Yeah,
That's the ludicrousness of the theists.
Well, let's follow the
especially when that's the only thing that runs your life, right? And when you think it's a legitimate project to take hours out of your day to discuss this thing that we know doesn't exist, and it just doesn't seem like a legitimate project for a grown-ass man to be holding these conversations about something that doesn't exist.
The problem is that I believe that God does exist. So that's why I hold these conversations.
That is a problem. You're right.
Sure. So, but I could be wrong. And that's why when I talk to atheists, they can either help me get away from being wrong or maybe are going to help me become more into my belief in God. But let's get back to
straight. I don't wish to get anybody away from their belief in God. If that's what you need to, like, if you need to wake up in the morning and decide how the universe began, and then and only then can you run your life and decide how to live, then I don't want to take that away from you. I think it's not a legitimate project to run your life around that. But I don't want to dissuade you from that. There are lots of terrible, terrible people on the core, but for the fear of a delayed punishment or a delayed gratification, this is what they'll believe. I want those people to continue. So there is a utility in religion. It keeps really bad people from doing bad things. And, on the other side, religion will if you want to get somebody, a really good person, to do a bad thing, interject religion in his life, right? So, with the Muslim fundamentalists, they might be good people, but introduce religion in their life, and then you'll see what really terrible things they do. Cut the foreskin off of their child's penis. Just some other absolutely ridiculous things that, genital mutilation based on religion. And these might be good people.
Sure, I could see that religion, how it could be bad, it could be good. But as far as how it pertains to me,
it's a utility. It's a utility, right? As far as simple-minded, it can control simple-minded people from doing really bad things, because the promise of a delayed gratification, as in eternity in heaven. So for that case, I'm not saying you, but there are many people that may be doing really bad things, but for the fear of God and the fear of going into a eternity of hell. So for those kind of simple-minded people, heaven and hell and God and religion are necessary.
Of course, it definitely serves a purpose. But as far as I'm concerned, I would much prefer that there is no God, because then I can do whatever I want. I think I would be much, much happier if there wasn't a God. So really,
well, let me ask you this: have you ever tried living a week or two or a month or a year as if there's no God? What difference will it do in your life having there is no God? Just try it.
Wow.
Live godless.
Let's put it this way: it wouldn't be good. The results would be pretty much a complete 180. I'd hate to think that way. But
so you're one of those people that are really rotten on the inside, but for the fear of a God and the promise of a delayed gratification of heaven or a punishment for an eternity, that's why you believe in religion. So and I was just giving a nuanced case, but it turns out you're one of those situations, right? Like and I was just trying to offer anecdotal evidence for some really bad people that will do good things just for that, but you are the anecdote in this scenario, and I'm sure there's many others like you.
I fit in very nicely. So the fact that you even brought that up, it's a good coincidence, because if there is no God and there is no morality, it's just a matter of opinion, then
well, hang on a second there, Professor.
Oh boy.
No one said that there's no morality, right? If you wanted to say that without God we don't have morality, that's a whole nother conversation that I can point you to Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, many other great philosopher thinkers in this space that will tell you that morality does not require a God. Just the opposite. The things that your God has put out, the filth. The Old Testament is just an absolute terrible book of things that this moral God that you're calling has just, it served punishment on hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, at one point the entire globe. And that's the morality that you're getting it from? Invisible man in the sky forbid.
So what you're saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth. So you believe there is a such thing as a objective morality?
There is morality without God. Now, if you want to call that objective or subjective or whatnot, but so that's another. That would be a conversation that would take more than the 15 minutes that a YouTube video should last.
Right. So we're just skimming over the topic, so we might be bouncing around. This is just organic, but the reason I'm saying that Christianity would be better for me if it was not true, because then I can do whatever I want. The reason I don't do whatever I want, because I know there's a set standard, objective morality, that I can't do those things because they're wrong. And when I measure those things I want to do to the objective morality of what I say there's a God, then it deters me, because I know that there is a judgment, there is right and wrong. I can't do whatever I want. I have to do what's right in order to be right with God, because there is a God.
Yeah, like